Hello, my name is Olivia Viool, and I'm going to be talking about the lack of basic human rights present in countries around the world. Every day, people are experiencing a lack of basic human rights, such as issues with voting, freedom of speech, and the right to express their religion. More than 1/3 of governments have imprisoned people who are simply exercising their rights and freedoms, such as expressing an opinion or belief. The reason that the issue of human rights is so important to me is because of the negative impacts that these countries are facing today are going to have effect on the world that my generation is going to live and continue to grow in. There are many reasons why this is an important issue, including people are being killed and incarcerated for expressing their political opinions, people are experiencing discrimination for race, religion, and sexuality, and people are facing many kinds of abuse. According to the International Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Trans, and Intersex Association, 78 countries have laws in effect that are used to criminalize consensual relationships between adults of the same sex. The reason that the violation of basic human rights needs more awareness is it is our generation's job to demand the change we want to see in the world. We are the generation that can change the world to be a better place. I think people have just accepted the fact that the lack of basic human rights in countries is just how life is. I know that our generation will not continue to allow people's basic human rights to be violated. It is very important for our generations to stand up for things that we believe in. In Canada, most of our basic human rights are met, like our right to vote. Voting in other places around the world is not a basic human right that is met, or even an option for people to consider. People in other countries around the world are not allowed to vote or cannot vote in a safe environment. In Canada, we have the opportunity to vote, and it is our job as Canadian citizens to practice our civic responsibility to vote. It is important to vote so that the person in power can be a true representation of the passions and beliefs of the people they represent. The issue regarding the lack of basic human rights, such as voting, is also important to me because if an unfit leader is elected, then our generation is going to have to deal with the consequences. While researching this topic, I had a lot of questions, such as, how is it possible that in 2019 people are still experiencing a lack of basic human rights? Also, how many people are affected? Well, 300,000 children under the age of 18 are being used as child soldiers. Also, how many countries are not providing basic human rights? 93 out of 160 countries have conducted unfair trials and violated a basic human right. Lastly, how do I help and get involved? If people want to act on this issue and get involved, they can donate to the UN, sign a petition, or send a message about one of the many human rights violations around the world. They can also become a youth activist. When teens get involved in solving issues, change is always made. People can also raise money and volunteer for leadership programs to spread awareness. I feel like there needs to be a change in the laws and regulations relating to this issue to help aid in resolving the issue, because if human rights become a law, then it would help minimize the ability to take away a person's basic human needs. I think our generation is the generation of change, and that we are no longer going to stand for the violation of people's basic human rights. For more information on this topic, check out the website amnesty.ca/getinvolved. Thank you so much for listening to my PSA on the violation of people's basic human rights.